throttle up.
Here we go, we're going for deploy.
Stage 2, and everybody in the shuttle program, the crew is go for launch.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
Good afternoon. It's Saturday, August 1st here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. And on your screen is a live view of the interior of the Dragon spacecraft as we await its departure from the International Space Station.
That'll be one of the first items on their agenda today. So less than 30 minutes from now, they'll be closing Dragon's hatch around 2:45 p.m. Pacific time. Once inside the vehicle, Bob and Doug will don their SpaceX spacesuits, which will be worn during all dynamic phases of the flight. All those same leak checks on the spacecraft would occur before the crew makes their way into the seats and straps in for undocking. Once the Dragon's hatch is closed, Chris Cassidy will affix a docking target to the outside of the A-Pass hatch and then close it about 10 minutes later, 2:55 p.m. Pacific, creating a space between the Dragon and station known as the vestibule. He then has one more hatch to close. That's the Node 2 forward hatch. Now, after all of those hatches are closed, about 15 minutes later, a ground command will be sent to open the valves on the Dragon side and begin depressurization. That's at 3:10 p.m. Pacific, essentially venting air inside and bringing that space down close to vacuum. They have to pause for 5 psi for a few minutes, allowing the temperature inside that vestibule to stabilize, perform a good leak check, and then continue depressurization. 4:20 p.m. Central Time, they'll conduct a go, no-go poll. That'll be the NASA teams here in Mission Control Houston and SpaceX teams in Hawthorne. If all is go, the undocking sequence begins. The undocking command will be sent, followed by a few minutes for the umbilical that connects the power and data between the two spacecraft to detach. 12 hooks will retract, and then 2 firings of Dragon's thrusters will initiate, and the undocking will be complete. That separation scheduled for 4:34 p.m. Pacific time. Now,
one of the 2 astronauts returning to Earth in Crew Dragon is Doug Hurley, the spacecraft commander for the Demo 2 mission. He previously flew on 2 space shuttle missions as the pilot on STS-127 and again on STS-135, which was the final space shuttle flight. Here's a closer look at NASA astronaut Doug Hurley.
Excited?
Very excited. Yeah, very excited.
You feel ready? Still pumped?
Oh yeah, I think we're ready. I think we're certainly ready.
Joining the SpaceX Demo 2 test. He is a Marine Corps colonel and test pilot. He was selected as an astronaut in 2000. He piloted Space Shuttle Endeavour and Atlantis for STS-135, the final space shuttle mission. Introducing NASA astronaut Doug Hurley.
It's a life-changing process in so many ways to fly into space. It's just overwhelming in some respects. Just the sensations, the rumbling, the shaking, the acceleration when the engines shut off and you go from, in the case of the shuttle, you go from 3 Gs to 0 Gs instantaneously and things start floating. And I remember distinctly just thinking, what just happened? To see a rocket launch in person is, it's a pretty emotional event. I remember the first time I saw a shuttle launch and it was amazing. And then when I saw a shuttle launch with my wife on it, that is quite the emotional experience. My name is Doug Hurley, and I'm the spacecraft commander for the Demo 2 mission to the International Space Station. We'll wake up about 6 hours prior to launch. You'll eat breakfast, you'll do a medical check, you'll start to get your comfort garments on, you'll get a weather brief, and then you'll go get suited up. And it's the same suit-up room that astronauts have been using since Apollo.
And there they are, NASA astronauts.
And then we'll walk out, jump in our Teslas, and we'll ride to the pad. We will board the vehicle roughly 3 hours before launch. go through all those pre-flight checks, and then ideally we're off to the races from there at launch.
Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
It's about a 9 to 10 minute ride to orbit. We'll go through the on-orbit activities. We'll do some manual flying of the vehicle. We'll obviously sleep on the vehicle. And then we will continue through the rendezvous phase to where we end up in front of the space station the next morning, ready to dock.
Endeavour, this is Houston. Bob and Doug, welcome to the International Space Station.
We'll spend likely a few months on space station. We'll be able to do some on-board training with regard to undocking, entry, descent, and landing. Actually getting to fly the mission with Bob, you know, we've been close friends for almost 20 years, so, you know, the whole experience for me is what we're looking for.
For Doug personally, he's worked so hard, I mean, through his entire life to get to where we are right now. It makes me so happy to see that he gets to be part of this mission, the spacecraft commander. I'm just glad to see his hard work and his dreams come true for that. We're so proud of him.
It's been a huge amount of sacrifice and time away from home, but the fruits of our labor are coming to fruition.
Here's an external view of the Dragon spacecraft from the International Space Station. Every maneuver to be very carefully choreographed, so trying to make sure there's as little energy imparted by the complete. Dragon will then use its Draco engines. It'll thrust away from the station in a series of pretty carefully choreographed maneuvers or 4 departure burns to increase that distance between the two spacecraft. And then from there, it'll perform a phasing burn that will put it on the right trajectory to get back to Earth and the landing site.
Next on its trip home is deorbit, entry, and landing, and that covers all operations after the final departure maneuver. That includes trunk separation, closure of the nose cone, deorbit burn, and deployment of the drogue and main parachutes, and finally, splashdown off the Florida coast, at which point our teams will recover Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley inside Crew Dragon from the water.
Dragon SpaceX, all hooks open and nominal.
All hooks open.
Dragon departing.
Dragon SpaceX, separation confirmed.
Copy, separation.
Great burns. Physical separation 4:35 p.m. Pacific. Thrusters looking good. Counting down to a nominal departure burn 0 coming up shortly.
Dragon SpaceX, depart burn 0 complete.
Copy, complete. We're visors up.
267 statute miles over Johannesburg, South Africa. Too good on departure sequence. We'll send you back over to Hawthorne
Station before additional maneuvers will change its orbital path to take it below and in front of the station. Dragon will autonomously accomplish that through 3 additional departure burns, with that next one coming up in just a couple of minutes to get Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley well away from the space station and on their way home.
Beautiful view, Falcon 9 launch vehicle. We actually had a demonstration of that during our in-flight abort test that preceded the Demo 2 mission. Protects those navigation sensors on the top of the vehicle, the ones that we were...
The muscles of the astronauts weaken after their trip to space, and even do crunches with it. And so by using all of these exercise devices, they also have like a little bicycle. But it's been such an amazing day and mission. Let's take a look at some of the highlights so far.
of the space shuttle, last flown nearly 9 years ago. But if all goes commercial crew era of American spaceflight. And we are looking at a live picture now of Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley walking down that hallway in the corner, getting inside that elevator. And this, you can't see it from here, but they worked on this mission. So it was really important for them to hang that up in there so Bob and Doug could see it. And there the doors are opening.
Here they come.
And there they are, NASA astronauts.
Small crowd, but big cheers.
NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, Doug on the left, Bob on the right, waving to the crowd there to cheer them on. And there are their families right in front of them.
The virtual hugs, a very special moment. Fist bumps.
Are you going to be on good behavior? Are you going to listen to mommy and make her life easy?
You can hear them.
Ready? Let's light this candle, I agree. Launch America! Bye, guys.
And there it is. That shot really gives you a. There they are, taken in the sight, craning to see the top of the Falcon 9 rocket.
Core on countdown 1
and attach their umbilicals to their suits. And as you can see, the suit techs are there to help them get buckled and settled into those seats.
Again, they're in this down position just to make it easier to climb in and out of Dragon. They'll rotate to this launch position to put their backs a little bit more parallel to the ground. It makes taking the G-force a little...
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. So rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9. About 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down. Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first stage successfully landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed. This is the first Falcon 9 to carry humans to orbit, so very...
Countdown 1 is unmerged.
Separation confirmed.
And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space Station today.
Dragon SpaceX, with that separation call, we have a few words for you from our Falcon 9 team.
Board capsule Endeavour. We chose Endeavour for a few reasons. One, because of this incredible Endeavour NASA, SpaceX, and the United States has been on since the end of the shuttle program back in 2011. Us to accomplish most of the interfacing requirements that we have, but we've got the capability, just Doug and I, to accomplish the launch here. We do have an Apatosaurus aboard. We both have two boys.
At this point, Dragon now approaching waypoint 0. At this moment, we're less than a mile away from station. Dragon just under 1,200 meters away, continuing to close the gap. Pretty slow rate right now, moving in at only about 1 point.
Vintex Dragon on the big loop. Our advisors are back on the big loop. We are inbound from approach 2.
Copy inbound.
Station copy.
Dragon closing in. We're inside 20 meters. And yeah, that crew hands-off point should come up in about 3 minutes or so. Right before we get that final docking, it comes about 20 seconds prior, or just about 2 meters away from the station still. And that's just the crew not issuing any abort commands. At that point, it would be too late. And so any aborts would be executed automatically by Dragon itself. Two meters. We are inside the hands-off point, the chop, the crew hands-off point, 1 meter to go. Soft capture complete.
Dragon in space. Soft capture confirmed. Stand by for retraction and docking.
And we just heard it, soft capture. We have docking, that coming at 7:16 a.m. Pacific time, with the station and Dragon flying 262 statute miles right over the border between northern China and Mongolia.
Dragon arriving. The crew of Expedition 63 is honored to welcome Dragon and the commercial crew program to welcome aboard the International Space Station. Bob and Doug, glad to have you as part of the crew. Well done. Bravo Zulu.
We have Bob Behnken from SpaceX Demo 2 mission entering the International Space Station. Followed by Doug Hurley. Demo 2 crew now aboard the International Space Station. They entered at 12:22 p.m. Central Time. The station at the time was 262 statute miles over Turkmenistan. Crew all gathered in front of the cameras at the Node 2 forward end of the International Space Station. Just behind them is the hatchway to the Crew Dragon on its Demo 2 mission.
We hear you loud and clear, sir. Welcome to the space station.
Thank you, Chris. It's good to see you. And welcome to Bob and Doug. I will tell you, the whole world saw this mission, and we are so, so proud of everything you have done for our country, and in fact, to inspire the world.
We sure appreciate that, sir. It's obviously been our honor to be just a small part of this. We have to give credit to SpaceX, the commercial crew program, and of course NASA. It's great. Same back at you. You know, congratulations to the folks out at Hawthorne, McGregor, and at Kennedy. Just an incredible journey we've had the last couple days. A great day in space today, our first day of work on space station, but what a great ride on Dragon and Falcon 9 to get us here. Everything worked exactly the way we planned it to work, and that's a credit to the teams there in Hawthorne and McGregor and Kennedy. Just it's a pretty awe-inspiring trip so far, and very humbling, and just so Bob and I, Chris will not let us forget it. That's the biggest.
Everyone.
All right, Bob, mini workstation, BRT has a red small.
Yes.
3 short wire ties, 1 long wire tie.
1 long, 1, 2, 3 shorts. Swing arm.
Red small. PGT.
Red small to PGT number 7.
PGT number 7. Cal knot motor 30.5. And 7/16 swabbing.
Bob, your helmet is locked. Just check out all your stuff, make sure you're good.
The thermal cover is open. I'm egressing.
We copy.
The two spacewalkers will be making their way to the far starboard truss of the International Space Station to replace aging nickel-hydrogen batteries on the first of 2 power channels for the S6 truss with new lithium-ion batteries and their associated adapter plates.
You back inside where you can see that thermal cover of the hatch is closed. Still waiting on the opportunity to close the hatch. However, the spacewalk does not end until repressurization begins.
So much stuff. Hold Bob for a second.
First of all, I'm super excited that this is the first payload you're working with on Space Station.
Snug Bolt Bravo, and then do Bolt alpha and let us know if there's any difference between those two bolts. We'd like you to do is, like, with two hands, you're going to grab the drink bag and try to squeeze it uniformly so that you actually drain it in about 15 seconds. Keep it going cool. Nice. Well done.
Thanks for this. This flag has spent some time up here, on the order of 9 years since we dropped it off on STS-135 after it flew on STS-1. So very proud to return this flag home. And
all hooks open.
Dragon departing.
Dragon, SpaceX, separation confirmed.
Hey, separation
Great
confirmed.
burns. Physical separation, 4:35 p.m. Pacific. Thrusters looking good. Counting down to a nominal departure burn 0 coming up shortly.
Dragon, SpaceX, depart burn 0 complete.
Copy complete. We're visors up. Station Endeavor on the big loop. Good condition and a safe flight home in the fall. Take care, Fred.
Saturday as on their 62nd day on board the International Space Station and their 63rd day in space, Bob and Doug began to get the capsule ready for their ride home. Everything picked up when they got all of the final cargo into the Dragon capsule and then got themselves in and then closed that hatch, crawling in through the top hatch to the Dragon spacecraft, getting suited up shortly thereafter. Meanwhile, on the station side, Station Commander Chris Cassidy closed the A-pad.
There on your screen, we have a shot of the capsule as it is preparing to deploy those initial parachutes, the drogue parachutes. Again, these parachutes help slow the vehicle down even further and help stabilize in preparation for main chute deployment.
Visual, 2 drogues out.
There on your screen, we have visual confirmation of those 2 drogue deployments.
Copy 2 drogue. All right, so 2 of 2, the drogues now out. They're going to do their slowing and stabilizing of the Dragon spacecraft. They should be detaching in just a few moments, and then we'll see 4 parachutes, the main parachutes deployed. Dragon under drogues.
Drogue descent rate nominal.
So the expected descent rate, the expected velocity under the drogues nominal. We're right at around 150 miles an hour and already dropping. You can see the drogues now detach.
And there we have confirmation of deployment of the 4 main parachutes.
We are visual on 4 chutes out.
We are visual. 4 main parachutes deployed.
4 main.
There on your screen, continuing to slow Dragon down significantly. We are anticipating splashdown in just under 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, we've already slowed the vehicle down to about 16 miles an hour. It's already less than 1 kilometer in altitude. Just about 300 meters. 1 minute till splashdown. Splashdown.
As you can see on your screen, we have visual confirmation for splashdown.
SpaceX copies and concurs. We see splashdown and mains cut.
Dragon Endeavour has returned home. NASA astronauts Bob and Doug.
On behalf of the SpaceX and NASA teams, welcome back to planet Earth, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
Here. From up above. You can see the 4 parachutes in the water. We heard those were cut automatically as expected by Dragon. So for now, the crew just standing by. Again, they're going to stay in their suits, in their seats. We're waiting for all these initial checks.
Dragon SpaceX comm check.
On the boat, so what kind of activity is taking place right now? We're able to see the fast boats approaching the capsule. What's everybody doing on the boat to just kind of get everything?
Navigator, the recovery vessel. The 2 fast boats are out there getting ready to, not really laying on their backs in the ocean. They are seated upright a little bit, which would allow them to have a better view of the team working to install the rigging equipment.
Can endanger the whole thing, endanger the crew members and endanger themselves. So the SpaceX team's moving in to try and get them away so they can safely recover the Dragon capsule and get Bob and Doug on deck and safely inside their medical quarters. So we can see them. They're getting a lot closer. We expect about 10 minutes or so until they should be in position. All the rigging has been affixed on the Dragon capsule.
And we're also hearing that all of the parachutes have buoys on them here, so it's crew dragging in closer. We get our first good view of the nest. Yes, so this is essentially to assist them into the medical bays for evaluation after capsule egress. Well trained for these operations. As I was saying, the recovery team has rehearsed and practiced this with Bob and Doug themselves, actually, in a test capsule, practicing the egress as well as they have practiced the recovery process. That guy intentionally jumped. Speaking of falling overboard.
We're ready. Thank you.
All right, so the crew was just told in the next 30 seconds, they have the lines affixed, so they're going to start lifting the capsule up out of the water. And at this point, the communication we're getting with Dragon is actually being routed through the boat itself at this point. So there we can see the lift. Dragon is out of the water.
Yeah, so
now
now
that A-frame's going to start swinging it back. And it's bound right for that nest at the bottom of your screen.
So there we're getting a better shot of all the points in which Dragon is tethered to the hydraulic lift, ensuring that it isn't swinging freely. And there we can see Dragon Endeavour being carefully set down into the recovery nest on top of Go Navigator.
Dragon SpaceX, welcome aboard the recovery vessel.
And there we see Dragon moving forward.
Look at that. Smooth as a Tesla, I would say. It's really interesting to see those scorching marks now that we get a really nice up-close detail shot of Dragon.
Standing by for the currently pegged for no earlier than late. And we see the hatch is now open. Hatch being opened at 12:59 p.m. Pacific. Hatch is open.
So right now they're...
Go for SpaceX.
Here we have our first view of Doug
Mike,
Hurley.
I just would like to sort of reiterate what Bob said and add my thanks to everybody over the last several years that's either worked in Hawthorne, McGregor, or down at Kennedy Space Center. Anybody who's touched Endeavour, you should take a moment to just cherish this day, especially given all the things that have happened this year. We certainly can't thank you enough. Our families can't thank you enough. And, just proud to be a small part of this whole effort to get a company of people to and from the space station. Today and celebrate with each other.
We see some,
and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully in person.
Thanks so much.
All right, so they're getting set up, and we should see Spacecraft Commander Doug Hurley making his way out of the capsule. And it looks like we've got him out. We've got him seated. And there we go, another thumbs up. We've got some applause here.
And as you can see in Mission Control, a standing ovation for a job well done all around.
Yeah, our crew members, Bob and Doug, are now safely back home on Earth, and they're going to get checked out now by the NASA medical team. They're going straight into the medical quarters on board the ship. That'll be their first stop on planet Earth. and then they're going to be making their way up into a helicopter and then heading back to dry land. So once they're complete, the team's going to prepare Dragon itself, and they're going to begin taking it back to shore. It's been an incredible mission. This all kicked off just 2 months ago on May 30th from Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. We had a successful liftoff. We had to dodge around some weather. It was suspenseful, clearing up the last possible moment. They had a flawless ride to orbit, a 19-hour journey to the International Space Station, where they just spent 62 days on board, 64 total days in space. They were Expedition 63 crew members doing science experiments, spacewalks, repairs, everything on board the orbiting laboratory.
Their journey home began yesterday when they closed the hatch to Dragon and undocked hours later at 4:35 p.m. Pacific. And social media updates for the next steps on the commercial crew program and the countdown to Crew 1.
And we're going to continue to share the progress of Bob and Doug's trip back to Houston on social media. We also have a briefing coming up real soon. It's going to include NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine and officials from NASA and SpaceX. That's coming up right at the bottom of the hour, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 20:30 GMT. So we're going to say thanks one more time for tuning in, cheering on Bob and Doug as they return home. And we'll see you next time when we'll once again be sending astronauts on American rockets in American spacecraft from American soil. So long.
We'll go back to our reporters in the queue. We'll go next to Stephen Clark.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now. Question for Gwen, since you're going to be reusing more and more of these Crew Dragon vehicles. I'm curious, do you plan on building a fleet of vehicles going forward? How many do you think you'll need to have in your rotation for the demand, both from NASA and from private astronauts, private passengers going forward? And a question for Soichi Noguchi on the Crew 1 flight. I think you're going to be the first astronaut since John Young, if I recall correctly, to fly on 3 different launch vehicles with your experience on Soyuz and the Space Shuttle. Curious if you could compare your experiences on those 2 vehicles, riding them into orbit, and how you think Falcon 9 may compare going into it. Thanks.
Okay, I go first. Thanks for the great questions. Yes, I am very honored to fly this mission, and along with my experience with the Space Shuttle and the Russian Soyuz. But the important thing is that I'm rookie to the SpaceX, and I'm learning a lot from my commander and my pilot. They have been in this training for a long time. I just started like last February. So this is like going back to square one. Everything is for my safety, our team's safety, so every day is like a rookie. And important thing is that we have a great variety or diversity in this crew. And my small contribution to this great team is experience. So, but we have different views, different backgrounds, so name it. So the diversity brings up the resilience to this crew. So it should be a great mission. Thank you.
I think